This is a DM's guide for the final chapter of Eve of Ruin, where we fight Vecna. I have my maps all laid out to demonstrate each section, so if that's not what you're here for, please leave. The chapter says, look, the cave's just over there. But then the book suggests one last visit to Sigil. I don't know about you, but it's more likely that a rest on the spot will happen and then into the caves. No one else can enter the caves unless you've got Vecna's link. Now that's my first problem. What if one of your players didn't turn up last week, the week that you got Vecna's link? I mean, I guess you're going to have to get them all in, aren't you? That's just one of those things, I suppose. But who's with them? Tasha? Lustriel? Someone else that you've invented? Can they all go through? Because the players have to travel to Vecna's Grasp, which is a three-way intersection that you get teleported into because you've got Vecna's link. So maybe just throw that out, eh? Maybe there's a wall of protective purple light barrier that keeps everybody out apart from the players because they're the chosen ones. But does it alert Vecna? Would he know? I suppose he's too deep in the ritual. Surely he has defences in play. So they arrive at a crystal formation. There's distorted images on the crystals, like TV channels of different versions of realities and stuff. So 3 tunnels lead off from a crystal covered vent. So to dismantle each one of these 3 unrealities, there's an item that they have to destroy. They are glowing with a purplish light, and you can see them through walls, like a waypoint in a video game. You enter the barren landscape of a wasteland. One castle in Oath with the sun setting. It takes 1 hour to reach this castle. It's the only obvious thing to travel towards. So play that out in real time. I'm only joking. Throw that shit out. If you move towards the castle, it gets further away. So moving towards the sun is the way to get to the castle. 2 cadaver collectors are in Area 1. They sift through rubble. These machines gather the bodies of the fallen, and most importantly, they collect their souls. Cadaver collector AC 17, 109 average health. Has a few immunities and has advantage on saving throws against spells and magic. Doesn't everything in this game? Multi-attack, 2 slams plus 10, 18 bludgeoning damage plus 16 necrotic damage with a paralysing breath, a gas in a 30-foot cone, DC 18 con save, or you're paralysed for 1 minute. You save out of it at the end of your turn. Bonus action, summon spectres. 1d4 spectres without sunlight sensitivity arise 15 feet, within 15 feet of the collector. In 2, 6 statues of Vecna stand on an open air walkway. To break one of these statues requires you hitting the AC of 13, and the result is 2d10 psychic damage back at the attacker. A Death Knight with glowing red eyes stands at the far side of Area 3. He doesn't go into attack position until you leave the following rooms, i.e. 4 and 5, so Death Knight starts. Death Knight is AC 20, 180 average health, advantage against magic. The Death Knight spell save is 18, plus 10 to spell attacks. It has up to 5th level spells, makes 3 longsword attacks, plus 11, 9 slashing, or 10, plus 18 necrotic. It has a Hellfire Orb, which is a grenade. 10d6 fire, 10d6 necrotic on a failed save. It can add 6 to its AC. We've done it before. In addition to you lovely viewers, I'd like to say thank you to my members in the memberships, Adam Sturch and Daniel Morgan. They get these shout outs and members only live streams, early access to these videos, sometimes quite a lot in advance, and they're just cool dudes. So there's an old fountain that only holds stagnant blood. Looking into the tranquil liquid, they'll see Vecna conducting a ritual in a purple crystal cave. Vecna is kneeling, holding a black hole. Cave 5. Kaz sits in a dirty stone room. He's shackled by his hands and feet to a large metal ball. The chains will only allow him 10 feet of movement. He's despondent and lost in thought as he looks up at the tattered tapestries and the crumbling walls. There's a sword on his back, which some of you might recognise as the Sword of Cass, which he used to cut off Vecna's hand and eye in the lore. This module flip-flops telling us that the sword isn't in this book, but could be, but isn't. Well, here it is. However, we are in an illusion right now. The sword actually has the symbol of Vecna glowing on it, and they've probably seen from afar that this is the magical thing they need. This is the way to dismantle this reality. They must find the relevant article and touch the item with the rod of 7 parts, using a charge, or burning a 7th level or higher spell slot's worth of power to make the whole thing vanish, crumble, disappear. That tunnel is crossed off Vecna's grasp. With all 3 tunnels done, the crystal will shatter. This will fast travel them back to Vecna's grasp. Kaz won't fight over the sword, but he needs to be persuaded to hand it over. E2B. They appear in Neverwinter, but with Vecna in charge rather than Dagult Neverember. A balcony holds a Death Knight with a crown glowing gold and purple with a Vecna symbol on it. 12 armoured wights hold the crowd back from the building, and as many nooses on gallows as there are players are in the street below. They have to touch the crown and then do the whole spell slots thing or rod charge thing. You might say it could be over in no time if they use fly or use mage hand with a rod piece, but not so fast. The crown will only come off the head of the Death Knight or count as it being touched when the Death Knight is incapacitated, not necessarily unconscious. I'd just play this by ear. If they get the crown in a way that satisfies them, let them go for it. We just want to fight Vecna. Now I'm going to try and playtest the Vecna stats I have at the end of the video, so stick around. E2C, they float in an inky abyss. A dying astral dreadnought is being attacked by 6 eyemongers. Have the faint waypoint of the feather appear in the dreadnought's stomach so they know where to go. So the players need to get inside the astral dreadnought, fighting or not fighting the eyemongers, or the dreadnought itself. Prepare for your players to choose going in the back door, if you get my drift. Once inside the demiplane / stomach, they stand on hills made of half-eaten dead gods. They effectively stand on one of 2 hills with a valley between. Imagine standing on hills of half-digested god, and underfoot is unstable. It's a DC 13 dex save, or they fall 100 feet taking 10d6 bludgeoning damage. 3 is a sword bridge. To get across to the next flesh dune, they must get to a colossal god sword. It's basically used as a bridge. 3 eyemongers lurk below. If you've already had a fight with eyemongers, swap them out for something else, eh? 4. Inside a shrine up some stairs is a statue of Habakkuk, god of animals and druids, with a blue feather sticking out the side of its abdomen. It glows with a purple outline and has the Vecna symbol on it. Once they deal with it, wait, what? They don't have any 7th level spells left? Or they don't have the rod piece? Look, this is where you're going to have to think of a solution. Maybe simply holding the item makes it all go to pieces. We just want the fight. Right, in Vecna's grasp, the crystals blocking the hole begin to shatter to dust. The purple crystalline walls are immune to all damage. You can only see through these crystal walls if you're within 5 feet and someone's within 5 feet on the other side. Sound cannot pass through these walls. There are some solid diamond portal doors which teleport people to specific places. These are colour coded. Now there's red rubies on one side and generally blue rubies on the other, and there are scratched sigils in writing anyway. So the scrawlings make it easier to understand. Vecna can teleport anywhere he wants in here. I think that just makes it more interesting, because I want this fight to actually be good. Tot up the secrets that the players haven't yet spent. Consult the table and they'll get that additional power as well. Also the ones under it down to 0. It's a 500-foot pit drop. DC 20 athletics to climb down. 20d6 is the max fall damage in rules as written. I took issue with this when we played Rise of Tiamat and we had airships involved. If you get thrown out of a 1,000-foot up airship, I ruled 50d6 was the max. I think it would be quite funny to also break their legs if they fell down Vecna's grasp. Disadvantage on attacks, half movement. I like it. Have fun with it. Yes, of course, give the players a chance to feather fall, levitate them, whatever. And at the bottom, 2 more Death Knights attack. What about a Skull Lord instead of Death Knights? You know, they're new. You'll find them in this. Or even some Angries. Let me show you these stats. Yeah, I just like swapping things out. I don't like the repetition, you know? It gets a bit boring. A lot of these things you might never use, and now it's like, just pick something you've never used before. Throw it in, have fun. Kinda similar to a Death Knight, but cooler. Now R2, there's an unpleasant hum. A purple wall with a diamond door, which actually has a ruby on both sides, because you teleport straight through. Their reflection stares back at them, sneering, and then runs off, back into R3. A mirror shade is AC 13, 91 average health, a speed of 40 feet. So if the mirror shade is near a glass pane, for example, it has advantage on its initiative rolls. The mirror shade can move along the walls of reflective surfaces and not provoke opportunity attacks. It makes 2 Phantasmal Strike attacks and uses Reflect Fear. Phantasmal Strike is +7, 7 Radiant damage plus 7 Psychic damage. Reflect Fear is a DC 16 Wisdom save, projecting an illusion of the creature's greatest fear, and 8d6 Psychic damage, and they are frightened. And if you want to throw a bonus action in there, Mirror Stealth can take the hide action. Various purple crystals line the walls with 10 more diamond doors in that area. Anyone who starts in that area, R3, except the bad guys, makes a DC 20 Wisdom save or takes a D10 Psychic damage as long as they can hear that hum, and they will always hear that hum at the start of every one of their turns. Chip away at them. Now there are 4 mirror shades in total in this area also, including the one they saw first. Finally, when they enter the central room, they see Vecna levitating. The black hole rolls and toils in front of him as he weaves the ritual of remaking. The module says he is weakened, and so you need to get him to 50 health points and then use the Chime of Exile to banish him. Now using the rod against him will deal extra damage. 10d6 extra psychic actually. And then the cave shatters, and the players find themselves floating in the astral sea. Now what? Vecna's link is broken. Did the door float into Sigil, I guess? I've built this campaign's mini-bosses up throughout this game, so that Vecna can be fought at full strength. It's Vecna. I don't want a weakened version. I want a historic, hard, we fought Vecna memory for life. And I also passed him the Staff of the Forgotten One. I think I stole that from Rarak. So let's look at what the book says his stats are, and then I'm going to show you my tweak. And I'm going to try and play test it for you, and for myself, because I'm running this game. So Vecna as written. Armour class is 18, 384 health at full, 272 average, saves. Con +12, Int +14, Wisdom +15. Look at these skills, although they're not going to come into much use. Immune to non-magical attacks. Cannot be stunned. Cannot be stunned. Has True Sight. It says 5 legendary resistances. So if he fails a saving throw only, he chooses to succeed 5 times. Alright, ish. It says Vecna carries a magical dagger, and it's a +2 dagger. Yay, Vecna. Right, multi-attack. Vecna uses Flight of the Damned, Rotten Fate, or Spellcasting. He then makes 2 attacks with Afterthought. So Afterthought is +13, 7 piercing, +9 necrotic. If you're a creature, you're afflicted by entropic magic, taking another 9 necrotic damage at the start of every turn. Immediately after taking this damage, the target must make a DC 20 con save, ending the effect on a success. Until it succeeds the save, you can't regain health. Flight of the Damned, recharging on a D6, rolling a 5 or a 6 only. Not 5 or 6 charges like my player thought. So Vecna will conjure a torrent of flying spectral entities that fill a 120-foot cone, pass through all creatures in the area. Each creature makes a DC 22 con save. On a failure, it's 36 necrotic and you're frightened. Rotten Fate. Vecna causes necrotic magic to engulf one creature he can see within 120 feet of himself. The target makes a DC 22 con save, taking 96 necrotic damage, on a failed save or half as much damage on a success. And a humanoid killed by this magic will rise as a zombie at the start of Vecna's next turn, under Vecna's control. So list out what spells he has as well. Lightning Bolt, Dimension Door, Invincibility, Dominate Monster, Globe of Invulnerability, and Plane Shift. Bonus action, he can teleport up to 30 feet away. I say in this whole map he can teleport anywhere. Creatures within 15 feet of his destination space take 3d6 psychic. If at least one creature takes damage, he heals 80 health. 3 reactions a round, but only once on each turn. Vecna utters a dread word to interrupt a creature he can see casting a spell. A 4th level or lower spell fails. 5th level or higher, Vecna does an intelligence check of DC 10 plus the spell's level, and the caster takes 3d6 psychic if the spell does fail. Fell Rebuke. In response to being hit, Vecna will deal 10 necrotic damage to the attacker. Teleport wherever he wants, I say. I've seen several alternate suggestions on Reddit even, for one thing, so go look at those. Different stat blocks for Vecna. And I know that I remember Severin the Red in Rise of Tiamat had 5 legendary resistances. So my Vecna is having more. He's having 8 legendary resistances. Yes, I know, you heard me. And he will have infinite health at first, because he's a massive character that I refuse to have dying soon. I want this to be the hardest fight they have had or will ever have. Maybe the one fight to rule them all. So I'm going to provide crystals that come up and down around the cave so that he can get that bonus to AC from cover. Maybe the players will use that, maybe they won't. They never normally use cover, so sod them. Right, the Staff of the Forgotten One, apparently. While you have the staff, you can't be blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, petrified or stunned. You could wield it as a +3 quarterstaff that deals an extra 10 necrotic damage. The Staff of the Forgotten One has 7 charges. You can use an action to target a creature. It must succeed on a con save 22 or be cursed. While cursed in this way, the target can't regain hit points and has vulnerability to necrotic. Double the necrotic damage. Well, let's see now. Rotten Fate, on average, did 96 necrotic. Double that? Yes, I know. That's going to kill a player. Good, it's the climax. Somebody must die. So there's a rune carved into the staff's skull, which protects Vecna from the spirits. And each time a creature other than Vecna expends any of the staff's charges, there is a 50% chance that the life force will try to possess the staff's wielder. They make a DC 20 con save or become possessed. Really, I want that staff for the double necrotic damage. It's horrible for them, but I want options. I need options. So let's do 4 little cards. They all have AC of 18. Their saves, let's say 20. The damage they do every time, an average of 25. Let's just see what happens. Right, so Vecna starts off on infinite health for a while. And that just means I'll make it look like I'm writing numbers down, but really, I'm not. Instead, I'm going to have Vecna do some weird hand waving and kind of take a flash like he doesn't look injured, but he took some damage, but he didn't show it. So okay, let's say player 1 moves up and has a pop. They roll, nat 1, great, brilliant. Player 2's go, makes me make a save. Let's say wisdom save. Yep, infinitely true, I roll terrible, I've got plus 15 to that. It's still an 18, boy, still an 18. Let's say 3 does something from afar. Alright, that hit me big time. Now for that, I probably genuinely would log that damage and say, fair enough, that's going to count. Now don't forget, I've got 8 saves that I can just write off as legendary resistance. And hope that I save a couple naturally. So that's 10 saves. Once they're gone, they're gone. But it gives me chance to get to my turn and decide, right, What am I going to do about these guys? Well, Fell Rebuke, if he hits me, I can teleport away anywhere, I'm saying. So I go outside of this room, if need be. And that's immediately 3d6 damage to him because I teleported away using that ability. Or if I just move somewhere else in the room, anyone within 15 feet of me, when I do Vile Teleport, takes 3d6 Psychic, and I regain 80 hit points. So that's cancelled out the crit. And yeah, they roll, they've got their abilities. I mean, that's how I roll. So yeah, they've got half good rolls, half bad rolls. I can't be stunned. I move in the middle, do Flight of the Damned, or I move over here and one of those big blue crystals, big purpley crystals comes up and I have cover. I've got Globe of Invulnerability, Lightning Bolt. I bonus action. I do damage to them because I've landed next to them. Then I attack, plus 13. That's, okay, so yeah, probably would roll a 3, sounds about right. That's 16 to hit. I failed. And this is what I mean, I need something to negate the fact that I'm going to mess up. Invincibility frames. Times when I just don't take damage. But all the necrotic I do can be doubled when I do have a good one. Will they be trying to destroy the black hole? There's no mention of that. Dispel magic, I guess? If they do that, I would say it's going to take 3 Dispel magics successfully in a row to unweave that thing. And if they do, the whole thing disappears, the whole realm. And we're in the end game, he's floating through to Earth. And he's done. So yeah, that's an example of what I would do. I'll do some rolls, decide what I should use on spellcasters, what tactics I have for melee, what if I'm grappled, restrained, whatever. See what my get out of jail free cards are, and use that bonus action teleport because it heals me 80 health and harms them 3d6. You have to rain the pain down. You know, you can even roll honestly, but write them down on a sheet when you're doing it. So while you're invincible and you've got like 3 rolls which really were terrible, you have to use them later on. And later on you want them to kill him. So almost put your good rolls up first and then ride those bad ones out and say, you know, after half an hour of the fight or however long it takes, the chink in the armour is done and he's rolling paw. You want him to put up a fight, but you want him to lose. Yeah, tell me I'm wrong, whatever. Tell me how your game went. I'd love to know. What alterations did you make, etc. Hey, see you in the next one.